Hello and welcome to the Figment3D Unity plugin tutorial. Figment3D is a rendering system that has several components. One is a parametric modeling tool similar to Maya or Rhino, and it lets you make various parametric surfaces, but they're defined mathematically. So with the Figment3D Unity plugin, you can generate OBJ files for any of the primitives and then resample them and change them in various ways. Or you can directly load parametric models which are stored in the Fig file format. So with a parametric surface, every point is represented with U and V, similar to texture mapping. They naturally texture map. So then the third dimension is how far off the surface at that location you are. So it's a different coordinate system. So we can make the resulting shape bigger, smaller. We can make the avatar bigger or smaller. With parametric surfaces, you can sample the resolution, which is the number of vertices and ultimately triangles. So a smaller OBJ would have less triangles. We could scale the spine curve or the slice curve. The slice is called the generator curve, and the spine is called the trajectory curve. You can completely edit these with the Figment3D editor, which is a separate tool. So you can make this be non-circular very easily by dragging the control points of the splines that make these up. So we can control the direction of the ship. We can have the ship move around, change the velocity. So if you're moving, let's see, it has a snap to zero effect. If we move along, it will come to a stop unless we tell it to bounce in that dimension. And for a plane, you could bounce in the V dimension. With the reset button, it resets everything back to normal. So one cool feature is the volume control. With volume control, if you control the spine, it will automatically control the slice. So it maintains the volume of the sphere or any object. It would work with any object. So we have a couple examples of materials. If you want to see how we dynamically apply these to an OBJ that we just generated. Coming soon, you'll be able to stream the OBJ. Right now, we generate it and we load it, but it's so fast, it doesn't seem to be much of a factor. So with the load fig, we can load a series of different files that came. You can see him in the figs folder, which is also where the OBJs go. So you just type in the name of it, press refresh. So we can change the size of the surface, the size of the avatar, the location of the avatar, go with a higher res in both dimensions. So then we can just turn off the other camera and we'll be in first person perspective. I've got these flip controls. Sometimes you're on the top or the bottom, so I put these flip controls. One flips the camera. So now we can drive around on the curved surface. It's really cool. And then you can steer. And if you wanted to do things like tumbling, all you do is take the bounding box and dynamically set it. And then you can have it tumble. It'll always stay on the ground even if it's not a square or a sphere, as long as you recompute every time. So you can go really fast. And you can see how smooth it is. Now, it only has to look up one particular point. We can tell it to bounce. It only has to look up that one point where you're on, so it doesn't really matter if it's a super high-res surface. It's not regenerating the surface every time. And if we didn't have the main camera on, the direction spins it around the y-axis. It can be going in that direction or backwards, but based on whether it bounced. A good feature would be to orient in the direction it's going. I haven't done that yet. If you're in debug mode, you can see vertex axes, which shows one per vertex. It can be useful to see whether you loaded the shape correctly. And then finally, if we want to drive around on a curved surface like this, there's a flip camera feature. And unfortunately, I couldn't automate this for some reason, but if you go into the attached camera, you can just change the Y to be -1. And then we want to flip the X and Z. So now we can drive around on the torus. It's funny, as you get smaller, the ship stays exactly the same size, and it's just that the background changes out from under it. I probably could fix it so it stays on the surface when I change the parent size, just by factoring that into the math. Probably doing it in the wrong order. So this concludes the Figment 3D demo. And if you need to reach me, you can email me at info@figment3d.com. Thank you.